Well, to get things started, I think it's important that we figure out what exactly is news. So what news does is it keeps people informed. It creates community, it supports democracy. It's known as the fourth estate of government, which means that it's a check and balance on the other three branches of the judicial, the executive, and the legislative branch. It's got a vital role in all aspects of our community life, business, commerce, and really it's this linchpin that kind of keeps us all together as an informed electorate. What else does it do? It's an exchange for ideas and a development of consensus. It helps us agree on things, or at least all come at things with the same level of information. To a great degree, it's our rough draft of history. So when we chronicle history, and you may notice when a lot of history is remembered, it's in the newspapers of the day. It's really providing us with the practical information we need to unify us, satisfies curiosity. So when we want to get answers, we go to a news source, and ultimately it entertains us at the same time, and that's becoming more and more important as news consumers evolve. Now, speaking of those news consumers, there's things we need to know about them before we start writing for them. One, they're in a hurry. Most people are in a hurry. They have very short attention spans for news. It has to be something that grabs them. We're not big on the spinach consumption of news, which is we're not going to get things that are good for us and take them. We want to get things that we like, that entertain us, that make us feel intrigued or interested or good about ourselves. We want stories that are told in a compelling way, so we're much more likely to be engaged in a story that's told personally with anecdotes. We call them stories that relate to human beings. And really there's more than one type of reader, so we have to start thinking about how we can serve all types of readers. But they do expect the same things from journalists, no matter who they are. They expect us to be objective, relatively speaking, and of course that's becoming a very fluid term when it comes to the customization of news in the form of Fox News and MSNBC and CNN and the New York Times, and whether or not something has a liberal bias, etc. But we have to think about how we're perceived by the readers. They want us to be truthful. They want us to tell them when we might have a conflict of interest. They want us to tell them how we got our information. Just to really be as open as possible. They want to see behind the scenes. And they want us to be fair. They want us to treat everyone fairly. They want us to respect the people that we're covering, the stories that we're telling, and respect them as readers. Now, it's important to note that from a news writing perspective, opinion is not your friend. So your opinion is not significant in the writing that we're doing. The goal is to get the opinions of others. So when you're writing news stories, there should be almost none of your opinion evident. In some political news stories, we may see some evidence of opinion. Sports stories, I think you probably have noticed there's quite a bit of opinion often in those. Opinion columns are made up of opinions entirely, as are reviews. And we're going to look at all different aspects of writing, from the ones that have the little amount of opinion to the ones that have the most. Now, the key priorities of news here are, I always joke that we're not very clever in journalists. We say what we mean and we mean what we say. So in this case, we call something news because it's new. We want to have currency to it. It has to be something that's current. And it has to mean something to people. So if we're going to tell a story that doesn't have any resonance with people, we're going to have a really hard time selling that to them. So it's important that these two priorities are met in our stories. And we have to make sure that we're meeting the objective, which is that we inform our audiences, we tell them what's going on in their community in a way that informs and entertains them, and we have to think both locally, nationally, and globally so that we are bringing stories to the fore that will benefit readers and make them a more informed populace.